What up, BABs? Woo! Okay, so normally on a Sunday, you would find me in my kitchen meal prepping, but we have a softball tournament later, so that's where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing. So meal prep maybe tomorrow. The reason for the video today is that I want to tell you guys a story, my story. And I've been staring at my phone for about an hour, and I'm usually not one to hesitate when I hit the go live button. So this is going to be hard for me, and it's got a big fat message behind it. And the message is that things are challenging for people, even though from the outside they might make them look easy. And I've gotten very good at this in my life. I've gotten very good at pretending that things are not hard. I wouldn't say pretending, but mainly like emotional responses weren't allowed in my family growing up. And so I'm really good at just putting the emotions not even on the back burner. They're like in a Tupperware in the fridge. Maybe they're in the freezer. And I just don't think about them. And so it makes things look really easy for me that are actually very difficult. And so a lot of... Okay, so let's tell the story. Can you just tell the story? I'm nervous, guys. So growing up, my dad has a military background and grew up probably in a similar way in which he raised us. But it was I've been told by every therapist I've ever been to that it was an emotionally abusive situation. And we were threatened a lot. We weren't allowed to feel our feelings. We got hit with the belt, blah, blah, blah. This isn't to like put my dad on blast or anything like that. This is just because I want you guys to know that the entire time I was growing up, the things that were being put into my head were not good. They weren't positive. They weren't optimistic. It was scary. You never knew like really what was going to happen, you know, when he got home from work or woke up or whatever. So it really sucked. It was scary. You felt threatened a lot. You didn't know like what was going to happen. Like it sucked. But the thing about your kids is that their belief systems and the way that they're going to live their life, you put all that shit in there as a parent. And so when you send those messages that you suck and I don't believe in you and that you can't do that and that you're not going to make any money and that, you know, your life's pretty much going to suck. When you put those belief systems in, you're not setting your kid up for like anything but failure. Which is, we're not going to get into the details of that, but basically growing up, I didn't believe in myself. I didn't love myself. I didn't have any self-worth. There's all these different beliefs that, as you grow up and you have dreams and goals and these things are like working against you, you can't seem to get past them. And so I share a lot of the inside of our house on social media. We do a lot of videos. I have the kids in the kitchen with me and we're cooking and stuff. And basically what happened for me is that I knew I wanted to be a parent. And as I was growing up, I would always say to my dad, I'm never going to treat my kids how you treat me. And breaking this cycle is so hard. It is so much harder than it looks. So my natural reaction when my kids piss me off or they're acting like kids with their underdeveloped brains is to freak out and to yell and to lose my shit and to like have flashbacks of my childhood and then feel like a shitty person. And it just starts this like crazy downward spiral for me, feeling like I'm a bad parent. And I'm not a bad parent. And I know that because I don't do what my dad used to do. I don't yell a whole lot. I yell a little bit, but I don't feel like my kids are scared of me. But the point of the story is that things are hard for people. Things are hard for me. Parenting is really hard for me, even though I love it and it's a huge passion and I'm like obsessed with it. So from the outside, you guys see me in the kitchen with my kids, and they're climbing on the counters and they're using knives and they're like burning themselves on the stove, and like I have this like very different parenting style where I want them to experience things and I want them to learn from their consequences. But it's also very hard for me sometimes when in certain situations I lose my patience and I want to yell and I want to swat them and I want to like put them in their room and shut the door and make them feel like no one cares about them, because that's how I was raised. So I don't really have those intensive like reactions that I don't ever act on that shit, but it crosses my mind because it's like how I was programmed. So there are things in life that you're working on. There are things in life that you want to change, and there are stories in your head about how you think you should be because this is how you were raised. And one of the hardest things that you'll ever do in your life is just break that cycle and rewrite that story and become a different person than whoever put that program in for you. So most of the time I'm having fun being a mom. And most of the time it feels really natural and really easy. But sometimes I have these moments where I'm like, holy shit, I've been trying so hard for you and I do all this stuff for you and I like have done all this research and I've read all these books and I've taken all these classes and I've been to all this therapy so that I could show up here for you right now. And you're still acting like an asshole, and it makes me want to just like, why am I even trying, right? So what I want you guys to know is that even though you can watch my videos of me with my kids and us in our house with our kids, how hard I've worked on the culture inside of our house, that it is still a huge challenge for me to show up and be the mom that I want to be every single day. It's still a huge struggle for me to maintain my patience and not to tell them to like shut up and get away from me when really all they need me to do is hug them, because we're all humans and we have emotions and we get reactive. And this actually literally happened the other day. Cora was freaking out, and she's just like me, so I totally get it. But she was freaking out, and nothing I was saying was making it better, and I was pissed on the inside. And on the outside, I'm trying to be, you know, the mom that I know I can be. And finally, I just picked her up and I fucking sat my ass in the rocking chair and I just rocked her. I was so mad. I was so mad. But I was like, I remember how my dad used to react to me when I would act like that. And I remember feeling like no one gave a fuck about me. And it's probably why I've made all the really bad decisions that I've made in my life, because I felt like no one gave a fuck about me. And so I did the hardest thing I could have done in that moment. I did the opposite of what I wanted to do. I did the opposite of what I knew growing up as a kid. And I was really, really proud of myself after it was over. But you guys, the challenges that people face, you might think that those things that they're doing are super easy for them. You don't know how hard that person has worked at being who they are, at showing up. You know, there's people, and I'll just translate this over to the gym because this is the other thing that we do. And there's people who they're showing up consistently for 6 weeks and they're so into it and they feel so good. And they have all these new habits and they're just like, they're all in. And they're making it look easy. But I know that person is still struggling, and that person still needs more help. That person needs more support. That person needs more communication. They need more connection. They need more. People always need more. And from the outside to the untrained eye, it can look like that person is fine and they have it all together, and they don't. So the message becomes, people who are good at shit are out there fucking grinding every day. They're struggling every day to show up the best they can be that day. And it's hard every day. It's a decision to fucking like bring it on every fucking day, because it's not gonna get any easier. You might be faced with some of the same shit, some of the same struggles, but some days it's different and it's hard. And a lot of my messaging has to do with not pretending, and not being perfect and not hiding. And I think the other day I kind of came to this realization that I only share the good shit. Because no one wants to talk about the bad shit. You guys don't want to see crying children. But the idea is that you need to know that everyone is struggling. And you need to know that everyone has challenges. And you need to treat them like that. So when you see the moms with the crying kids at the store, you need to give those motherfuckers a fist bump. When you see people showing up to the gym consistently or inconsistently, you have to give those people a fist bump. Like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know how hard that person is working to show up where they're showing up. And also, let me just take all the pressure off of you to feel like you need to be perfect and pretend that you have it all together. Because you don't. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to hide. All you have to do is show up every day and keep fucking trying. Because the journey it's not going to end. Every day you're going to learn something new. Every day you have to keep working at getting better. If you think that there's a destination and an end of the road, like, you got to change your mindset. Because people need to feel growth, and if you don't feel growth, then you're fucking gonna feel like shit anyways. That's what I learned. Like, if I don't constantly feel like I'm growing, then I feel like shit because I'm not working on stuff. So hopefully that helps someone, which is the point behind all the stuff that I shoot. But that was a tough one because I don't know, nobody likes to talk about their past and where they came from. It's painful. So hit the share button, tag a mom who maybe needs to see this, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.